Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. We are currently post-taking of Dresden. I have recovered my voice ever so slightly, and we are talking to all of the people that are around here. I've had a few hints about who I should give bismuth to. Apparently I can give it to Sealer, and Sealer can ride around on a dinosaur, but he needs to level up a little bit first, so that might be something that we end up doing at some point, because that just sounds phenomenally fun. I'm just getting that out of the way at the start of the episode, you know. Hello, bismuth. Where are you, Lann? There you are. He's hanging around in the peasant quarter? Oh, wait, never mind. There's a noble there. Maybe it's not all that bad. Oh, Christ. I've done half of Lann's stuff, if I remember. What brings you here? Tell me of your people. What's it like living in your caves? Oh! Lann gives you a broad smile. His smile is strange, as if it falters where his human features meet his animal ones. Imagine that in the entire world there's only a few hundred like you. There's not an inch of fertile ground anywhere. Nowhere to grow grain for bread, or cotton for linen for cloth. Your neighbours are beasts who want to eat you, or parasites who want to infect you with their larvae, and then eat you. And it's not that bad, because you can try to eat most of the things that are trying to eat you. Sometimes at the risk of getting poisoned, sometimes with almost no risk at all. In the worst years, there's not a single living thing anywhere to be found, predator or prey. That's when you eat mushroom soup. I'd say 3 times a day, but there was barely enough for once every 3 days. Lann shrugs. But life underground has its upsides. Pun intended. There's no risk of losing the roof over your head. There's no bad weather, not counting the earthquakes, of course. Are you really the descendants of the first Crusaders? More like demon spawn, aren't we? Sad, but true. Without the demons, there would be no mongrels. It's the magic of the world wound that affected our ancestors and made their children the way we are. Like most in our tribe, Chief Sol fancies himself a descendant of the underground Crusaders, the ones our heroic ancestors left to guard the caves. I don't know if it's true or not. That angel came to our caves for a reason. Maybe he remembered us. Those were evil and dangerous times after the First Crusade. Hundreds of Crusaders began having children, and the babies were born with fangs and horns and warts that covered half their face. People didn't like the new look. The Inquisitors sure didn't. So our ancestors fled persecution and made a home for themselves down there, under the ground. They probably intended to find a cure for their children and hoped to return in time. But it never happened. Instead, the world wound's terrible legacy was passed down from generation to generation. Mongrel parents can only guess what their child will look like. Each of us is born with a new mutation. Many mutations are lethal. Lann stops, then goes on quietly. Down in the caves, we usually don't congratulate the family for the birth of a child until they turn at least 3. Most don't get a name before that. There's no point. It hasn't been that long since the First Crusade. Why do you know so little about your ancestors? Our lives are much shorter than most uplanders. Up here, only a few generations passed, but many still live who remember old Socorus as it stood untouched by the demons. Queen Galfrey, for example. But where we live, mongrels start getting old much earlier than humans, much faster, and with more devastating consequences. Few live past 40, and fewer still live long enough to die of old age. Hunger, disease, and monsters from the deep are more effective killers than time. Do you have a way to tell day and night? You can't see the sun in your caves. Every mongrel settlement has a big gong, which we treat like a relic. The gong keeper hits it twice a day to mark the beginning and the end. But this custom doesn't keep time very precisely. Every mongrel child has snuck up to the gong to strike it at the wrong time at least once, just out of pure mischief. Nothing could keep me away from it, not even the fact I only have one ear, which means it would take double the punishment once I was caught. Though sometimes the wrong strikes get mixed in with the right ones, and the tribe can find itself jumping up to greet the morning in the middle of the night. Do the mongrel tribes fight each other? There were some skirmishes, and I've been forced to kill my kinfolk before too. Lann speaks in a steady voice. Fights most often break out over food. We have laws in the caves, written and unwritten rules, that we follow. We respect one another's right to live, but hunger, it can push a person over the edge. I've never, you can count on that, stolen someone else's kill. But I can understand those of my kin who tried. To hear your kids begging for food and not being able to feed them is terrifying. He frowns and goes silent. You're the only member of the Neathholm tribe to call your people mongrels. Why is that? Yeah, because all of Galarian calls us that? I don't see the point of all this hemming and hawing over what we're called. Anyone who finds it offensive or takes issue with it can lead the charge against the name. No one's stopping them. But personally, I'm not going to pick a fight over something as unimportant as a name. Thank you. What do you think of life on the surface? It must be very different from life underground. Of course. As far as living conditions, the surface is definitely a better place to be. It's easier to get good food and water, not to mention build a house and even grow a few things. In older, well-established settlements, you don't have to deal with anything scarier than rats, or maybe foxes, stealing chickens. As for the kind of lives you live, I've heard a story about demon worshippers abducting a whole family and sacrificing them one by one while the others watched. But there were some brave crusader knights nearby, and they killed the villains and saved everyone. And I heard another story. A young blacksmith lost his arm in a fire, couldn't work to feed his wife and baby. They tried their best and lived from hand to mouth, but they were still destitute. In the end, the desperate blacksmith robbed a traveller one night on the road, but there were some brave crusader knights nearby, and they caught the robber and threw him in prison. Not long after, his wife smothered their baby and hanged herself. Up here, the same person can proudly say he's protecting the innocent from demons, and then look the other way while the same innocent starves just because they were born into a poor family. Queen Galfrey prolongs her life with sun orchid elixirs that cost enough to feed an entire city. Back in our caves, everyone is equally poor, and if one person starves, the whole tribe starves. We don't abandon our own in times of trouble. That's the power of a tribe. The laws of the surface are made so that some get everything and others get nothing. I might just be a naive fool from the caves, but I don't understand how it's possible to have so much more and share so much less. Anyway, look who I'm talking to. You must know life on the surface much better than I do. There are a couple of options. We can be good. I never leave a needy person in trouble. I've been given more than most, which means I'm now able to help others. Lawful. We're in a struggling for our very survival against the abyss. There's no time to upend society in a quest for fairness. Chaotic. Oh yes, I also have a few questions for our feckless aristocracy. Evil, stop whining. I clawed my own way up, and anyone who can't do it the same is just lazy or weak. Wow, that sounds like everyone in the top 1% of society right there. And it's the evil alignment. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Let's go with chaotic. But I guess they'll have to wait until we drive the demons back into the abyss and close the world wound. Lann smiles his strange half-smile, which breaks along the border between the two sides of his face. At the end of the day, the world is full of injustice, but it's also full of mad beasts ready to tear us up to pieces. Yes. What do you think happened in the Grey Garrison? Did you feel a change in yourself? It's hard not to notice when the demons start running away from you like a flock of frightened bats. Powers granted by Imode to defeat demons. Lann raises his hand above his head and pensively scratches behind his single horn. Since I was a kid, I've taken whatever I've been given and used it as best I can. Anything goes when you're trying to survive. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter where your blessings come from. We can think about that when we're old, if we live that long. But you know, this time, even I'm not so sure. A divine power that just appears out of nowhere. Sooner or later, we'll have to pay for it. I'd like to know what the price will be. You said you were prepared to risk your life to do something meaningful. What exactly did you mean? To invent a new salad and have it named after me, Lann remarks grimly. Then he sighs. Truth be told, I don't know. It would be much easier if all I really wanted was to kill demons. Then a few more demons, then more demons after that. Good, honest rage, and no needless brooding. I think I actually envy the warriors who can live like that. But I can't. If life's taught me anything, it's that there's no easy choices. Dying a glorious death isn't enough. Some heroes of the Crusades did that and also saved entire settlements, erected the ward stones. Their actions kept the land of Mendev safe for decades. That's what I want. For my dumb, short life to have meant something. You think I have an exaggerated opinion of myself? Some scaly freak crawls out from the caves and wants to take control of the wardstones and flaunt Imode's banner? Any fool can charge at the front lines of the demonic armies and die there. But what good will it do? I want something meaningful, you know? Even if I have to pay the highest price. Especially if I have to pay it. There are plenty of worthier people who need to survive this war and tell everyone else what nutcases we were. That's fair. Alright, thank you, Lann. Caught up with his conversations. Who's next? I don't think I can talk to Bismuth. Should I try? Bismuth? I cannot. Ember? I don't think I've spoke to Ember at all, even though I really like Ember as a character. Over here somewhere. And we have the prison, a house, an abandoned building. The elf in front of you is young, still an adolescent by the standards of their long-lived folk. A childish, carefree smile plays on her face, and her wondering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Terrible scars cover her body, and a few of her fingers are missing. A crow sits on her shoulder, observing you with its clever, black eyes. Tell me about yourself, Ember.
Well, they call me Ember. I used to live in the River City, and now I walk with you. That's my story.
Why do they call you Ember?
I've had many names. When I was little, Mom and Dad called me Dove, or Cricket, or Kitten. Dad called me his ray of sunshine. And when my mom was cross, she called me by a long name. A grown-up one. I can't remember it no matter how hard I try. Then, when I came to live in the River City, the good people called me different funny names like Ember, or Torch, or Smoky. I don't know why. They called me Bird Brain because I have a crow. They called me Lucky Seven because of my fingers.
She raises her hands. The middle finger on her right hand and the two smaller fingers on her left are missing.
They sometimes called me Grilled Meat, and I said that was stupid. But I didn't feel hurt. I mean, they're right. I really am silly. They didn't mean to hurt me. I like Ember. It's a good word. Embers are like people. On the outside, they're grey and cold like stones, but they're warm inside. You can blow on them and they'll start a fire to help you survive a cold night. And that's wonderful, isn't it? Ember, it is.
Where are you from?
Far away. From the flower country.
The girl gestures vaguely off into the distance.
It's so beautiful there. Everywhere there's flowers blooming, golden towers and waterfalls, and everyone is like me, with pointy ears. There's no round-eared people, no short ones, no horned heads. We live there together, me and Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad argued a lot. Dad used to say that all the good people should go on the crusade and fight the demons. And Mom said he was silly because it was so far away and none of our business, and that he shouldn't abandon his child. She meant me. But he didn't abandon me. He took me along. He said I was born the same year that the hole in the demon world opened. He said it was a sign that I would be one of the heroes who close it. Of course I'm not a hero, but I'm here anyway, helping as much as I can.
When did you get your scars?
It happened by accident. My dad and I came sailing down the river to join the crusade. Dad said that all the good people were going to the world womb to heal it. He said that the crusaders were the best people in the world, and together we were going to win. But when we arrived at the river city, the crusaders got everything mixed up. They thought my dad and I were bad, and decided to burn us at the stake. Dad died, and I cried so loudly that one good knight realized it was all a big mistake. He started yelling at the other crusaders, even the one in charge, and then walked right into the fire and got me out. The others wanted to stop him, but he took out his sword and scared them away. The kind knight took me to a healer. I later learned that while the knight was pulling me from the flames, he himself was burned so badly that he died not long after. But I'm still alive. A few fingers missing and my skin is funny. I've lived in River City ever since. I've never had my own house, but I had many friends, and then the demons came and I met you. And you know what happened after that.
So River City's Canabras? Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. We got good option. Is it really so easy for you to forgive them? I'm not sure I could be so merciful. Lawful, and that lynch mob called themselves Crusaders. For shame. Chaotic. They must have thought they were doing something lawful and just. That's just what happens when people let the law do their thinking for them instead of their conscience. Or evil. I've heard enough of your sob stories. I don't care about you or your dead father. Let's go with chaotic again. This is what happens when people let the law do their thinking instead of their conscience.
No, you see, for some reason, they were afraid of us. We were their friends, and there were lots of them and just two of us, and they had weapons. But they still looked at my dad and me like we were going to bite their heads off. Even when we were already on fire. Even when that good knight was carrying me away in his arms. They looked at us with terror. I don't think fear ever has any reason to it. It just lives inside people and makes them do evil.
Do you worship any deity, Ember?
The girl shakes her head with an unwavering smile. Dad taught me to pray to Imade. He said she was a kind goddess, and she called people to crusade against evil. The knights who burned my dad and me worshipped her too. They even lit the fire with a prayer to her, and she did nothing to help us. But then one kind knight, alone, without any gods, changed his mind and saved me. I think the gods are the same as us. They don't understand anything, and they're scared of everything. So they hurt themselves and the rest of us. People worship the gods only because they're afraid of being responsible for themselves. And the gods listen to the praise, and they become smug and arrogant and begin to believe that they're better than us. But they're no better. They're silly sinners, just like the rest of us. Sometimes I pray to the gods, different ones, the good ones, the bad ones. I ask them to stop fighting and hurting each other. I don't know if they ever hear me, but if they do, I mean, the knight who wanted to burn me, he was able to change his mind and do a good deed. If he can change, maybe Baphomet can too.
How did you survive on the streets?
The elf shrugs. There are many good people in the River City. When I sang for them in the street, they'd often give me coins or bread or sometimes even clothes. I shared everything with the other homeless, and they showed me where it's safe to sleep, where I could get out of the rain and cold, where I could find discarded things. When the demons destroyed the river city, I looked for my friends, but I found no one. They probably all died. The homeless have no supplies or weapons or basements to hide in, and the knights won't protect them either. Knights are like gods, so self-important. They're saving the world after all. What do they care about the homeless? Still smiling, the girl shrugs. Where do your magical powers come from? These tricks? I have them from my grandma. She used to be my father's grandma, and before that, his father's. I've never seen her myself, but she's very clever and kind. When I lived on the street, sometimes she left food for me or a blanket in the winter. Sometimes I feel her stroking my hair as I fall asleep. But if I open my eyes, there's no one near. She also sent me soot. She scratches the crow's beak, and the bird crumbles happily in response. She tells Soot how to do different tricks, and Soot teaches me. We passed a lore check here. It appears that Ember doesn't know who exactly gives her these powers, but you can guess from her words that her patron is Andaletta, a powerful Archon, one of the Imperial Lords, also known as Grandmother Crow. I guess that would check out. Thank you, Ember. Oh no, not at all. I didn't really tell you anything. The Queen gave me a title of Knight Commander and put me in charge of an army. What do you think about that? The elf focuses her wandering gaze on your eyes, smiles and shakes her head. Don't believe titles. All of us in the world are children of the street, barefoot, hungry, scared, a step away from death. Some imagine they're strong and rich like gods. Don't forget who you really are, behind the title. You're always so cheerful. How do you manage to remain so hopeful when we're surrounded by such horror? Hope? She tilts her head and continues with a smile. No. Hope is a lie. What should we hope for? This world is in the hands of demons. The gods can't help, or they don't want to, or they forgot about us altogether. The people know they're about to be eaten by demons, but they still quarrel with each other and fight and steal. There is no hope. Only us. We'll have to win without hope. It'll be hard. The entire abyss is against us. We can only win by some miracle, which means we'll have to make one happen. What other choice do we have? We'll work a miracle and win. Because we have to. The elf smiles broadly and nods to herself. Good God. So go. The elf watches you with a radiant smile as you leave. Ember is such an interesting character, I swear. Who is left? We have Sosiel. We actually might have some conversation with Sosiel here. Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you? Did you think about what the Hell Knight told you? Yes. Sosiel shakes his head. Another dead end. I still know nothing. How could Trevor have parted with his shield? I can't imagine. You don't know what your brother has endured in this war? Perhaps the person you once knew is gone? I'm sorry if your brother disappointed you, or you must believe in your brother. If he gave away the shield, it means he had a good reason. Let's go with that one. I do believe it, I do. But what could have made him part with our family relic? You know, it's not only the Hell Knights who told me the truth. Knight Tirablade refused to tell me anything about my brother's fate while I was serving in Canabras. But after these events, she finally broke her silence. And the things she told me. That he was a good fighter, but a terrible knight, and an utterly worthless paladin. He became more and more cruel as time went on. He started caring more about destroying the enemy than protecting the innocent. He gushed
over Prelate Hullrun and his witch hunts. Eventually, the goddess's patience wore thin. When he beat up some poor fellow for blasphemy, Shalin took away Trevor's powers. That was a huge blow for him. He left the city, asking only that his disgrace be kept secret from his family, and that was why Irabeth didn't say anything earlier. Brother, my brother. But how? He's always been kind, merciful. Where could this cruelty have come from? What do you think of your brother's fate now? I can't wrap my head around what I've learned. It is as if we're talking about a different person altogether. How could he? Why did he give his shield to that she-devil in black armour? Oh, Shalin, let this all be a mistake. Alright, thank you, Sosiel. That was a short conversation. Right then, so, we need to go and find... Ooh. The place where our person will probably be. Probably in the Citadel, I imagine, right? Wasn't I told to go to the inn, though? I think I was told to go to the inn, so we're going to go to the inn. It's either the inn or the tavern. For some reason, my screen keeps flashing black. I'm going to assume the NVIDIA drivers are causing issues. I don't think it's coming up on the recording, but it's very annoying as I'm trying to read stuff. If it is coming up on the recording, I apologise. Can I talk to Horgus Gwerm? I know that's a random... Anything to say? Horgus Gwerm has been expecting you. Thumbs stuck in his belt.
Ah, there you are. I've been waiting. As you see, I too have joined the crusade. I don't know how to swing a sword, but war is costly, and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful, even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe...
Horgus shifts awkwardly from foot to foot.
I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honourable person. You have clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title of Knight Commander. And you are friends with Queen Galfrey herself. Such persistence deserves respect.
Horgus tilts his head in a brief acknowledgement of your merits.
Please, allow me to give you this magic amulet from my humble personal treasury to mark our future cooperation.
The amulet of blackened mirror? I don't really want to hear the story of Horgus Gwerm again. I've done that in his quest. I don't think we really need to know any of this, to be honest. Why have you decided to support the Crusades now?
With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Canabras was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Irabeth has no idea whose money she's been spending on drinks and supplies.
That's fair. Why did you hide the fact that Camellia is your daughter?
Didn't I tell you this at the mansion? It's because her mother, Iris, was a lowly half-elf who looked after my garden. I always wanted to join the Gwerm name with another noble family. The Gwerm legacy must not be mixed with common blood and vanish into obscurity. Iris didn't mind, and we managed to hide our relationship. When Camellia was born, I did not claim her as my own. To all of Mendev, Camellia is the daughter of a lowly servant who died over a decade ago.
Okay, I have to go. We don't need to do any more of that, I don't think. You're called the One-Eyed Devil? A short, chubby tiefling with a golden eye patch spits chewing tobacco between his feet and takes another pinch from a tobacco box adorned with jewels. Ah, fine day to you, Commander. Welcome to the One-Eyed Devil's trading house. His proud manner suggests that each word begins with a capital letter. and perhaps even continues in capital letters as well. A trading house? That's just a shop. No, that depends. There was a time when I had nothing in my pockets but holes. But did I consider myself poor? No, I considered myself a rich man who was temporarily down on his luck. Optimism is important not only on the battlefield, Commander. You are the leader of a victorious army and will be chopping all the demons into mincemeat sooner or later. I am the owner of a trade empire, which as you see, is only starting to grow. How did a tiefling end up on the side of the Crusaders? Oh, the answer is simple. The simplest thing there is. This is a good world, and I like living in it. Besides, it's the only one we've got. I'd love to know what's going on in the heads of them dimwits who I hoping the demons destroy it. My best guess is that their horns grow inward, and there's no room for brains. I'm from Chelinex. Tieflings don't surprise anyone there, and they don't like demons any more than we do here. And why should they? The gods went to all the trouble of creating this world. Even Lord Asmodeus and his devils helped with the construction. And now these freeloaders show up after all the hard work is done just to gorge and break things. It doesn't matter who you pray to. If you want to live, it's your duty to help. Isn't that a risky name for a store for the Crusades? Ah, yeah. A week doesn't go by without some dimwit boiling over. Well, they don't pay me to explain the difference between allies and enemies. Devils and demons, Lord Asmodeus and the riff-raff like Baphomet and Discari, so they can go hang. The tiefling spits between his feet and swiftly places another pinch of chewing tobacco in his mouth. Here's what I think. You like it, you buy it. You don't like it, keep moving. If you're spoiling for a fight, take yourself off to the tavern. Why are your prices so high? We're saving the world from demons, and that includes you. Oh, that's some claim. Did you hear that, good people? First of all, my prices are perfectly fair. They're no higher than you'd find anywhere else. Second, who's saving who here? Are you prepared to eat bark and fight with rocks and sticks? You know, I have open contracts with the dozens of suppliers. I arrange deliveries and do whatever it takes to get you sharper weapons, better magical items, better food. And you're throwing the extra expense in my face. This is the thanks I get for honest work. So, what happened to your eye? Heh. Should I make up a story about a heroic fight with a horde of demons? Truth be told, this is how it happened. Back when I was a snot-nosed kid, I just opened my first business selling pies on the street. The local lads quickly took notice of me and offered me protection in return for a small share of profits. The usual, you know. But I was so young, inexperienced, and greedy, so I told them to bugger off. Well, they caught me and taught me a lesson. They took it too far though. I paid for the lesson with my eye, not just bumps and bruises. It's funny to remember it now, but back then while it was happening I was so scared. I thought they'd beat me to death. I remember I came running home in tears and my mum just started screaming. I didn't have a clue why, and then I looked in the mirror and saw there were just shreds and mush where one of my eyes should be. I remembered that lesson all my life. Ever since that day when I start a business, I find some reliable business partners first. If I'd been born in a merchant family, my parents would have warned me about this, and about plenty of other things too. But I was a poor lad, so I had to learn everything the hard way. It's a miracle how many times I escaped death by a hair's breadth. In fact, it's lucky all I lost was one eye. I can afford a new one now, of course, but you know, I can't find the time. It will cost a tidy sum and I don't want to take it out of my earnings. And besides, being a one-eyed devil is a big selling point for me. I'd be a fool to get my eye back, only to have to keep it hidden under a patch. Have you heard about my new powers? What do you make of them? People are saying bad things about you, Commander.
To be clear, the speakers may not see anything bad in what they say, but I do. They say you're the chosen of Desna, and the most insignificant of all the goddesses. The only thing she knows how to do is flap her butterfly wings and meddle in the affairs of others. They also say you're not a patch on the other crusade leaders, and that you'll accept absolutely anyone under your banner. A former thief, a goblin, a kobold, even a stump with eyes. And you've got yourself quite the troublesome pet. I could understand a serious battle dragon, but this misbegotten thing with dragonfly wings, she gives you as much trouble as a flock of hundreds of sparrows. And what good does it do you? It's bad business to associate with such creatures. I prefer devils myself, and the terms are clearly laid out in a contract. Alright, what do you sell? I don't know why. I just decided to go full Cockney with that guy. I have no idea why. He looks like a shady merchant, you know? I'm channeling my inner blind bruiser from Fallen London. Expert lockpick. Interesting. Infiltrator's armor? Christ, this stuff's expensive. Alluring charisma plus 4? Oh my god. Okay, well I'm being cheap, so we're not going to buy anything just yet. Let's go in the inn. I am slightly worried. This episode is going to be nothing but reading. I would apologise, but I think the people who have watched this long are fully aware. Just this is how it goes sometimes. Problem is, I can either not read it and miss loads of lore, or I can read it and take an entire episode. That's pretty much the choices I make, and I guess I'd rather it take an episode and learn more about the world. Because some of these characters are fantastic. Can I? Hey! I forgot I gave her lock-picking trickery.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing it isn't the inn. I want to go to the tavern. I'm going to check the second floor of the inn, but listen in. Excuse me? How does one listen in? I just click. Ah, it's in the middle. Got it, never mind. One old Kellid told this my brothers and me on his deathbed, and then he died, and no one knows but us. I know this is their sacred forest. They prayed in the meadow of spirits. Shamanic relics, you say? A big treasure. Sounds like a lie. Everything was collected, carried away, and buried in that cave. The scouts say a bear lives in those forests, a terrible one. And there must be magic guards in the cave. That's why we suggest you come with us. We'll split the treasure equally. Interesting. Caves with a magical treasure in. Don't mind if I do. I'm assuming that's going to unlock some sort of world event. Ah, Nenio! Here you are!
My time to shine.
I was wondering where Nenio was. Oh, hang on a minute. How come this map is super zoomed in? Man, so many areas I'd have loved it to be this big. Girl, I am pleased with you. I asked you to bring me to safety, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and, frankly, pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, plumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Nenio stops to catch her breath. What I mean is, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we will unravel the great mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it. I, leading the way, proudly staring into the faces of the gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step of the way, writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. If we hold hands, you won't be able to go in front of me and lead the way. You are the catalyst which, when it reacts with my intellect, will allow the latter to grasp the very essence of the universe itself. You always express your delight so effusively. What? Who are you?
Nenio stares at you for a while, bewilderment in her eyes, and then it is replaced by recognition. Oh, yes, my new follower. So, what am I supposed to do? Oh, yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as-yet modest achievements, and try to induce you to strive for more of such encouragement. This is the principle that underpins any training. She frowns, but only an instant. Ah, I see. Your modest nature was unsettled by the overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologize for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again. Unless I forget. But let's get back to business at hand. Your new assignment will be to take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley lying between Canabris and Dresden. As soon as it is reasonably practicable. I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross so you won't forget it. What's so special about these ruins? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, my secret project, and I won't pass up the opportunity to share it with you. Because you are my most loyal follower, and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Nenio rubs her nose. And also because you are the first person to ever ask me about it. Some time ago, I was walking around the border of the World Wound and I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed grey robe and his face was hidden behind an odd white mask. Of course, I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about the reasons for his absurd appearance. And do you know what he said to me? He said, "I am the answer. But what is the question?" And then walked off in the direction of the World Wound. Oh, it's that man. We've met him multiple times. The next day, after I had already forgotten about the first encounter, I had another similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. "I am the answer. But what is the question?" she said, before taking off towards the World Wound. And then I realized. Everything became clear to me. I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Nenio rubs the tip of her nose. After all these geysers were simply on their way to a costume party, weren't they? After examining several maps, I determined that they were all heading in one direction, to a place not far from Canabris, a place which is marked as nameless ruins, even on an ancient Sakorian maps. And that's where I need to go. Unraveling the secret of the place will be my greatest discovery. It will secure my place in history, perhaps even in legend. How do you know where we have to go? Do you know how to find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees and then set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the directions they fly in. Then, you take a map and draw lines, showing you the bees' routes. The place where the lines intersect will mark the location of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make good honey. Nenio sighs. I used the beehive principle here too. For a couple of months I tracked the strange people in the masks and observed the direction in which they were travelling. I collected the coordinates, mapped their estimated routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersected at the nameless ruins. Not far from Canabris. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. These ruins aren't very far from Canabris. You could easily get there by yourself. Why do you need me? Nenio's eyes seem ready to pop out of their sockets in surprise. Don't you see? This is a legendary secret place. Who knows what may happen to me after I lift the veil and uncover the workings of the universe? My mortal body may be unable to contain all that knowledge, or perhaps I will ascend and become equal to the gods themselves. I need you to write down everything that happens and report my fate to interested parties in Absalom. And don't forget to praise me as I deserve while you're there. Okay. You know that these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that. Ruins? Nenio shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. That's all I wanted to know. Well, now you know. So off we go. Nenio frowns. Did I just make a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly, say any word and I'll try to find a rhyme for it right away. Creation. Emo day. Science. Or whatever. Science. That's when tinkerers make alliance. Intellectual defiance. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We'll learn that I have no poetic talent after all. Nenio sighs. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little too much. Besides, I am catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. I don't like it when you call me girl. My name is LS. On the grand scale of world history, your name is irrelevant. I have no reason to remember it. Wow. You see, the brain of any given individual contain only a limited amount of facts. I only expend my memory on things that are truly important. The laws of thermodynamics, divine esoterica, planar geography, things that will lead Galarian to a brighter future. Nenio rubs her nose. Besides, what if I make a good discovery? But I won't be able to remember it because my memory is full of outdated or useless information. What a nightmare that would be! What a loss for the whole of Galarian.
But you do remember your own name, right?
Only so I know what to put for the author's name in my encyclopedia.
Are there any names worth remembering?
There are. And to my deepest regret, there are too many of them.
Nenio heaves a sigh that would befit a grief-stricken old man.
The names of gods and demigods, the names of rulers, conquerors, and other persons, by some reason deemed great by the people of Galarian. They etched their names into history, and alas, every self-respected educated person must know them. But there are some names I am happy to remember. Great scientists, some of them divine, others mortal. True keepers of knowledge and great experimentalists, the pioneers of knowledge. Irori, Nethys, Arlu Vorlesh. I mean, okay. I feel like Arlu Vorlesh, I guess you could argue it was a great scientific thing, I guess.
Arlu Vorlesh opened the world wound. She's the betrayer of humanity. It's her fault the demons invaded Galarian.
Oh, yes. She is the greatest of the greatest. Just imagine, she managed to open a rift from Galarian to the abyss. No one knew how. No one believed it possible. No one even dreamed of such a thing. And she just did it. It was the experiment of the century.
Nenio wipes a tear from her eye.
I would have been so happy if I could have been in her place. Of course, some part of Galarian's population died as a result of her experiment, and the Crusades are still wrestling with its consequences to this day, but the very essence of what Arlu managed to do was a breakthrough of cosmic significance, both figuratively and literally. Sooner or later the world wound will be closed. Peace will return to Galarian. As for the victims of the ongoing war, they will be remembered as unfortunate and unavoidable sacrifices made to the altar of science.
I'm just going to say nothing.
Nenio blinks at you, perplexed. We were talking about something.
Tell me about yourself?
I am an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognised scientific luminary, future author of the Encyclopedia Galarianica, and rector of Absalom's University at once. Future rector, I should say. Nenio speaks in one breath, as if reeling off a practiced monologue. That information should be enough to satisfy your curiosity, but I doubt I'll be able to tell you more than that.
Where are you from?
That information is irrelevant. I decided to forget it.
How did you become a scientist?
Oh. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does it mean? Nenio casts a sidelong glance at her shoulder. Oh, that. I do not remember the circumstances of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a zero, null, nothing, a center point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me of how much of the unknown world there is to explore.
You don't remember how you got the tattoo?
God. How can you just decide to forget important pieces of information? This is one of my many talents. The secret is to stop thinking about the thing that you want to forget. And the main thing is not to remember anything you don't need to filter it, to get right to the essence. I'll teach you someday. Unless I forget.
What's this encyclopedia you're working on?
The Encyclopedia Galarianica will be published in 100 volumes, 1,000 pages each, plus the author's agenda, appendices added by future co-authors, and critical commentaries. Addenda Indexion is still in question.
Nenio looks slightly embarrassed. I just like the number 100, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep within the established word limit. It will be a magisterial piece of scholarship that will become a part of the mandatory curriculum of every educational institution worth mentioning. In it, I intend to describe every object, item, event, fact, and personality that is present on, or at least somehow related, to Golarion. My calculations show that I have completed no more than 1% of this monumental book. Do you remember your parents, your past, or is that irrelevant too? All of it is irrelevant on a grand scale of world history. I have no reason to remember such things. Okay. I'll stop torturing you with questions now. Right. Nenio produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve and takes some notes on it. This conversation lasted approximately 5 minutes. She lifts her chin. By the way, did you know this is the exact same amount of time the Inquisitors of Canabras need to find a defendant guilty? But to shake off Inquisitors chasing you takes 5 times as long. That experiment proved that running while clad in heavy armor is not burdensome for them after all. Thanks, Nenio. Right, well, what I've learned here is that the inn wasn't what I was looking for, and it's in fact the tavern. But alas, I feel I've run out of time once again in this episode, so I guess I'll end it here. Before I completely destroy my voice, an hour of constant reading is fun, and I do enjoy it, but it does put a strain on my voice after a while. Yeah, I guess it's going to be the half-measure tavern. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save outside of the tavern. Oh! What bloody hell was that?
Exciting.
Why did it make a strange noise? I don't know what that was. But yes, I'm going to save it here and we'll pick it up in the next episode. Hopefully we can find some more information in the tavern. So thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you again to the members of the channel and the coffee supporters. It really does mean the world to me and help keep making these videos. And as always, I'll see you next time.